Hi, this is Mark Rushton of markrushton.com. It is Sunday, February 21st, 2021. And this video is called, What Do You Do with Old Paintings? Well, I'll tell you what I do with new paintings or newer paintings. I try to put them on in my eBay art store. And this painting right here is Control Key. It's an 8x10 matted and framed acrylic ink painting by me, Mark Rushton. And you can go to my eBay art store by going to my website, markrushton.com, and then clicking on the link to the eBay art store. Link is in the description. So I have spent the last couple of years kind of going over my older art, culling it, and trying to get it organized and trying to come up with better processes. Because I have a lot of older things on paper. I have a lot of older paintings on acrylic ink on stretch canvas. I have some things on panel. I have, artists, lots of stuff. I still have stuff from my art school days. I went through that, culled that a few years ago. I kept most of the drawing stuff just because I had fond memories of drawing class. Yeah. So hold on here. So what do I do? Well, what's this beautiful thing right behind me here? This was a piece that I thought was finished. It was a synthetic paper that was adhered to a cradle wood panel. And then at one point I thought I would try to remove it, which of course it did not remove all of the synthetic fibers. And so I was kind of like, well, what do I do with this? Do I paint over this? Do I put a new piece of Tyvek synthetic paper over it and paint on that? And ultimately, what I've decided to keep it around because cradle wood panel. It's a nice cradle wood panel. There's no point in throwing it out. So what I'm going to do is probably get some canvas, adhere it to the cradle wood panel, gesso it, and make a painting that way, and experiment with that. Because it's something's going to have to do. Something is going to have to happen with that, or just paint on the canvas, paint on gessoed canvas, and make something that could be adhered to that. I think that's a 16 by 20. That may be a way that I want to go in the future. Who knows? But there's no point in throwing that out. I mean, it's not completely damaged or anything like that. Unlike other things I have around here, which, let's take a look here. Now, this painting isn't damaged. This painting was in a damaged frame. And this is one of my acrylic ink on watercolor paintings from 1996, 25 years ago. And yeah, there's some things I'd change about it today, but I still like it. And this hung in my father-in-law's home for 24 years. He had some other paintings of mine too. But this one, when we were removing items from the condo, which was damaged in the windstorm on August 10th, this painting wasn't damaged in the windstorm. It was damaged when we were getting stuff out after the windstorm, before the condo had to be torn apart. all the drywall, all the carpeting, everything had to get out of there, right? So when we were removing all the personal items, got back the paintings, and this one had a damaged frame, and I got stuff to try to fix the frame, but it was just too far gone. I like the painting, right? So I came to terms with myself on that and got rid of the frame. And eventually that will go with all of my my paper paintings that are in portfolios and stuff, the larger portfolios. And eventually I'll try to figure out something because that hung in his house for 24 years. And I like it, right? So eventually I will, that will be something that will be in my house, if not now, then in the future. And that will be a memory of something my father-in-law and my late mother-in-law as well had in their house. But yeah, didn't want to throw that away. There are some other things that I have been doing also. I have a lot of stretch canvases and other pieces that I had adhered to panel that, maybe aren't representative of what I do today, or they were sort of experiments, or they became damaged or incomplete. And a lot of that I gave to a friend for storage purposes. He needed some stuff for his walls. And so they're there, right? And I kind of, after getting rid of them, I was kind of like, well, do I want to rework that stuff in the future? It's there's a certain value for a stretch canvas. That's, but do I want to paint over it? Do I want to re-gesso it? Do I want to deal with the thing like the pentimento, the acrylic paint, that the texture that comes through as you paint a new layer? And it's like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll deal with that down the line here. But I did feel a bit freeing getting rid of that out of the closets and out of the storage areas of my house. I got a lot of wall space in here, but I don't have room for everything, So yeah, what do you do with old paintings? I mean, that's what I do. But that, dealing with that sort of stuff, choosing to decide to throw things away or to give things away or to let other people experiment with that, stretch canvases or unstretched canvases, that sort of stuff, which I have done. It's like, here you go, have fun. Is also me arriving at how I want to store things for the future. And we'll just use this one as an example here. The Itoya Profolios here. I've got pieces here that I have completed. Maybe I'm not sure about, or maybe they've been cataloged, but they haven't not yet been put in the eBay art store. Maybe I may go through that and cull them in the future and say, okay, that's not really where I was wanting to go. Things like this. Really darker pieces and stuff. Or it may be that you have a show again someday in the future and I need extra pieces to kind of fill in here and there or whatever. Those are good for that. So those, again, they're at the point where they're done, they're cataloged, they just haven't been matted and framed and put here on the eBay art store. I think that's a good way to work. And I also think possibly in the future, like this sort of thing, getting back to working on canvas, not necessarily pre-stretching the canvas, but working on canvas that maybe is tacked up or something. It's gessoed, you tack it up, you work on it, you make your painting on it, and then adhering it to a cradled wood panel, because then that way I can store completed acrylic paintings, maybe in these types of, I have bigger ones as well too. That might be a good way to go. I do like the modular way of building things like this, like Control Key here. And it's taken me a long time to come to this particular process, because I didn't get hammered. I didn't get taught this in art school. They didn't say, oh, you should just work in certain sizes, 8 by 10 or 18 by 24, 24 by 36, or, whatever sizes. Because it was always like, well, you cut it and then you make your piece and then you have it framed. But there's a whole lot of, there's something to be said for the minimalist aspect of working in particular sizes. It certainly makes things better if you want to use off-the-shelf framing or off-the-shelf matting, something like that, rather than having to go and cut your own custom this and build your own that. Yeah, you can do that if you want, but that's extra time and that's extra labor and that's extra effort. And at my age, I'm just like, well, do I really want to sacrifice all that time just for that, just because it's an oddball size? That doesn't make any sense. So I wish somebody back in the art school days had beaten that into me. My painting teacher, other painting teacher, the drawing teacher, uh, I did learn that. I did come to learn that in the Art Business Academy lessons that I took for 18 months. Uh, it wasn't necessarily explicit, but it was broached, and it was a concept that I appreciated. And then as I began to develop my business acumen, for lack of a better term, it's not really much, but the process here. So I'm a big fan of that now, working in specific sizes rather than doing all this custom stuff. It just seems like unnecessary. And you have so many wonderful options for framing these days. They are just so much better than they were 30 years ago as far as off the shelf framing, and the matting too. Pre-cut mats in particular sizes. They've always kind of been there, but you can, with the internet and everything like that, it's easy to buy this sort of stuff now. So anyway, that's sort of where I am here anyway, as far as 2021. What do you do with old paintings? And I don't have, now some people might think, well, what about throwing things out? Yeah, I do that. And what about burning things? Yeah, you can do that too. That's fine. I know some people get upset about that sort of thing, or even if the stretchers are in good condition, some people are just like, they want to move. It's their way to move on. And I totally get it. I totally understand it, whether throwing it away, burning it, whatever. That's understandable. I get it. I've thrown away. I've burned stuff. Yeah. It's okay. It's all right. Cause then it's gone and you can move on. But there's also part of me, and we'll get in, this kind of gets into the music side, although I'm going to wrap it up here in just a minute. Again, I'm always talking about catalog with the music side of me, and how old music, just because it's old doesn't mean that it's dead, and that, you have to refashion it and have it find its audience, because people aren't necessarily looking for you or your album or that particular track, but they're looking for that kind of music. And so that's why I never go and pull old albums or something like that. Oh, this is not representative of what I want to do and my vision. And you can do that if you want. I mean, but I've seen a lot of musicians over the years do that sort of stuff, make a change, and then they become embarrassed about their past or whatever. And that's what happens when you have recording contracts and stuff, right? So I at least try to make a buck or two off the old legacy content. But when it comes to physical media, like an actual painting like that, it's okay to do editing, whether it's throwing away, burning, or whatever. But again, like I said, it's okay to do this too, right? Put it away, love. Take a look at it on a rainy day, and see if that's where you're actually headed. That's okay. That's all right. So I think we'll wrap it up here. My voice is getting kind of whatever. And is it going to start snowing? Yeah, it'll start snowing with another 1 to 3 inches today. Just what we need, right? Just what we need. We need a little melting. All right. Might do a realtor recon later today. We'll see. It's Mark Rushton and markrushton.com. It is Sunday, February 21st, 2021. And we'll talk to you later.